Good morning. I am Justin Bailey from McGoffin County, and my grant is a little bit different than the rest of the grants because all of these grants are teacher initiated. They're teacher-led grants, and we're doing something a little different because I'm also the majority leader of our student senate members at McGoffin County, and as a part of their student senate plan, this grant writing process, this initiative that we're doing is actually a student-led initiative. So it is teacher-led. I'm there to help them along the way, but this is going to be something that's actually implemented by our kids, by our student senate as a part of their plan to build culture and academics and attendance and the different things that are going on in our school. So it's a little bit different, but what it actually is we started to look at things. We saw a problem, and the problem that we're looking to address is a problem that I'm sure that all of you are having, and that is prices are going up and school budgets continue to go down. They're harder to get those things that we need, and as we get increased prices on things like textbooks and decreased funding in the schools, what we're seeing is that classrooms have older and older textbooks, more and more out-of-date information, and it's harder to get those resources into the hands of our kids. And I know as a teacher, I create a lot of content. And I know you guys as educators, you're creating a lot of content in your classrooms, self-created, specifically for your classrooms. And one of the only ways that I have to get self-created content to my students is through paper copies. And if we are creating a lot of self-content, we're using a lot of paper copies. And a lot of paper copies, again, turns into higher and higher budgets, more and more money. So those are problems that we see in all of our schools. And we also see a shift in the way this generation is interacting with things like books. We see a shift to things like digital readers. And more people are sitting down with a book at night with a digital reader, using their cell phone to read their books, and less paper, hardback books. So what we see is that our libraries, our schools, we're not keeping up with that trend. More and more people are shifting to that trend. We as schools are not keeping up with that trend. And we've got libraries full of books, but we have very small e-book collections, very small amounts of digital readers in a lot of our schools. So to address all of those problems, our plan was the creation of what we call a digital library, a set of digital readers. And in this instance, what we have chose to go with are the Kindle Fires. These are the 7-inch. These are the cheapest ones that Amazon creates. They're regularly $50 on Amazon. So we want to try to get the most for our money. So $1,000 will get you about 20 of these. We actually were able to get on a prime deal a few weeks ago when they dropped these to $35. So our $1,000 was able to buy 24 7-inch Kindle Fires plus 3 charging stations. That's what this is. It'll charge 6 at a time. You can just sort of set it in there. We actually have got some bigger ones that charge 10, but that way we can fully charge all 24 at once. And basically we've almost got a classroom set with $1,000. So how does that address the problems that we were looking at? Well, one, when it comes to textbooks, I teach an American Studies class. It's basically a class that is geared around teaching American history through the use of sport. So we use things in the sport world to talk about major events in U.S. history. Well, we don't have a textbook for that, right? Every piece of the content is pretty much self-created. So if I'm wanting to push content to the kids, right, my principal probably doesn't like it because I'm having to run a lot of paper copies, right? I'm costing a lot in our budget. But with e-readers, with these Kindle Fires, I can just push the content straight to the Kindle Fire. All my classes have a self-created teacher textbook that they can look at anytime in the classroom. I can do things like tests. If I want, instead of running off a large paper copy of a test, I just push the test to the Kindle Fires. The kids can still do Scantrons or ZipGrade or whatever you're using, but the questions are actually being answered, or they're being read from the Kindle Fire. It's also got access to the internet, apps, all of those other things that can be used. Free classic books. This would be something good for an English class if you're reading a classic novel. It's a pretty good chance you can find it free. And then instead of having a classroom set of the Scarlet Letter, you've got the Scarlet Letter on a digital form. So this is just another way to try to keep costs down while also bringing up-to-date information to the classroom. Every Kindle Fire has its own individual Kindle email address. So all you have to do, we've got 24. I just create an email list, and whenever I have a document that I want to push out to the kids, I just attach it to that email address list of all 24 emails, shove it out there. As long as they're connected to the internet, all of a sudden, instantly, every one of those has the document that I pushed out. So it's not like you're having to go and upload and upload and upload. You can instantly sort of send it out. Also, if I'm giving a test with it, I don't want kids to have access to the internet, right? I don't want them to be able to cheat and find ways to get the answers online, so every one of them can be locked down where the Wi-Fi is cut off. They can only access those documents that are already uploaded, so that keeps kids from downloading apps, any sort of thing that they may be doing on the internet. So that sort of is a safeguard that can be put in place. So you can really customize these to the content in your classroom, and then this creates an avenue for kids to get self-created teacher content and different things. They're also color coordinated. They come in 4 different colors. So if I want to give a test, version A, version B, version C, version D, what I do is I just create different email lists for this is my red, this is my black, this is my yellow. I push it out to all the Kindles. I know my red or version A, my blue or version B. That way all of them don't get mixed up. I know exactly where each document is going. So there's a lot of different uses for this. We're going to start it in a classroom setting, and then hopefully, maybe over time, we can work on allowing students to check these things out individually and sort of move towards that ebook, allowing kids to, just like you would check out a book in the library, to check out one of these and read digital books that way. So we're still trying to figure out how to implement this in the classroom, sort of what safeguards we need, but we think it'll be something that will save the district money. I've talked too long. Okay. Save the district money, but also be a valuable asset to our schools and our kids having up-to-date information. So, any questions? All right. Thank you, guys.